What's up guys, welcome back to No Bad Days EDC. Today we are looking at a few new multi-tools that I picked up from Roxon. So let's check them out. Roxon is a newer company for me, but they sent over two of their multi-tools and they are extremely interesting to me. So this is their Flex lineup. So this is the Roxon Flex. And then the Roxon Flex Companion. So the Companion is, a little bit smaller, but it is doesn't have the pliers inside of it. And then the Flex is the original, does have the pliers. Both are very solid, very well built, and honestly, very cost effective too. So let's get into it, starting with the Roxon Flex Companion. So this is the more compact of the two. As you can see, it's very small, fits really nice in your hand. Not too thick either, it's very nice. So this is their more compact version. It weighs 156 grams, it's very light. Holds up to 5 long tools, which we'll talk about a little bit. So it comes with 6 tools, and you can pick basically 5 of them to put in. And then, so the coolest feature about these Flex multi-tools is that they're completely modular. So when you purchase one of these, you get the option of ordering any implements that you want. The implements look like this. So this is their comb, this is their this is actually kind of a catch-all I've used, but it has their saw and then the smaller scalpel type tool. This is the short sheep's foot blade. So from all the different implements that they offer, there's basically 2 options. One is the short, one is the long. So that comes up a little bit more with the Roxon Flex. It doesn't really matter as much on the Companion since it can hold all the long tools that you want. But I also have the box cutter, which I believe I have one of these on the Flex. And then they also have some bits that you can use with the Companion. Here has bit driver, and this is on its own liner lock, which is awesome. So, but you can see even when you're just like maneuvering it, how it's kind of just building blocks, and you can take or add away whatever you want. I guess I have a knife right here, huh? So, but these are the bit options that you can get eventually. This is actually a really nice setup. That's my first time opening the bits, but I'm really impressed. That's awesome. Kind of hits on everything in here. Very nice. So yeah, this is the Flex Companion. You can see in mine I have the drop point blade. This is D2 steel, which I like for just a hard use tool that you don't have to worry about. I cut a lot of boxes mostly, and so I really just mostly use it for that, or the occasional cutting of a string or something like that. But it's not, I don't really need a S30V or any type of crazy steel on a hard use knife like this. And then this is the ruler tool, which I end up using as a pry bar, like exclusively as a pry bar. So I actually have used this. It comes up sometimes when I'm trying to open something and I can't quite get it, like can't get my finger under there, but I'm able to get this there. So it makes perfect use for that. Then the next tool I carry is the scissors. Now these scissors are like huge. It's kind of it's like one of my favorite type of tools, and they're spring loaded. So I love these. These are great scissors. They fold away real small. They cut really well. So yeah, exactly what you would want from some scissors that you can always have in your pocket. I've used it to cut little pieces of paper or just whatever really. And it folds away really nice like that. The last tool I have is kind of my favorite to have just in case. because it feels like you always need one of the 3 items in here. So this is their pen, tweezers, and needle attachment. So kind of has a number of things going on here. So the first thing is a pen, which you slide out like that, put in here, and then if you needed to in a pinch, you could write, you know, if you need to sign something real quick and you don't have a full pen with you, it's nice to have just in case. You never know when you need a pen. It's nice not to have to worry about carrying a whole separate one. The next tool in here is tweezers, which I feel like you always need, especially with kids. Somebody's always getting a splinter or hurting themselves with something. So yeah, the tweezers are nice to have. And then the needle, which is basically just like a really small sewing needle, if I can get it out. There. And this comes in handy because anytime you need to hit a reset button on something or do anything of the sort, you have a little tiny needle that you can poke. Very handy to have, and you don't even notice that these are there because they're so small, and the whole thing folds away to this little compact singular tool. So this is technically has 5 implements, but this is kind of 3 on its own. So that is what I carry in my Flex Companion. Now this has kind of been my EDC knife for 2-3 months now. I keep thinking like, oh, well, I'll carry a knife. And then it's like, why am I going to carry a knife when I could carry a knife, scissors, a pen, and a pry bar all in one. So I find myself doing that. It has a nice lock on it. So if you slide that, you can see it won't. Sorry. It won't let you go. Yeah, everything's locked up. So yeah, I like that. And then honestly, to see how easy it is to switch, disengage that lock. You push this knob all the way to the right. You'll hear it click like that. And then everything will freely swing. Pick which one you want to take off. Just get it off with a little hook. Kind of looks like this. Put it back on. You just go back into that changing mode, right? And if you want to reorder any of these, you can, but I like the spot I have it. So it just snaps back on there, and then you bend it back and click it into place. And then you can see if you don't mean to, it's pretty hard to get the tools out. But when you mean to, you push the little knob forward, and there you go. You can kind of swipe between whatever tools you want. So yeah, this one's awesome. This has been my favorite EDC multi-tool that I've ever owned. I can't stop carrying it. I can't put it down. It's just so small. It's just so convenient to have. The other part of this is the original, the Roxon Flex. So this is a much larger tool, weighs nearly double the Companion. It weighs 255 grams, holds up to 10 one-slot tools is what they're called. So the singular thickness is what that's looking for. But it only can hold 2 long tools. So you'll see the rails here on both sides when it's folded have one long spot here, and then a short. And then this one has the same thing, one spot for a long, several spots for shorts. So this is also a great multi-tool, and I do still love the implements themselves. Are very nice, but it is rather large. So that's the only reason that I kind of have made this more of a bag multi-tool, something that I don't mind having, carrying in my backpack or in the truck, but it's not something that's like goes in the pocket very easily. The pocket clip is pretty good, but it does, the way I carry my situation here, it doesn't really fit with my phone, which I always usually carry either the knife or the multi-tool in the same pocket as my phone. And it doesn't really fit like that. So that's why it's been more of a bag, but you'll see similar here. There's a lock on both sides. So that's nice. You don't have to worry about tools opening up accidentally. This one has spring-loaded pliers. The pliers are good. There's just something about this that, like, I don't know if you can hear that, but there's like a little bit of a rattle that makes this almost feel maybe not as premium or as expensive or as quality as like a Leatherman. You know, on any Leatherman product that I have, I don't run into that as much. But the cool thing about this obviously is the modularity, and that's what you come for. So on this side, I have the small replaceable scalpel blade. I have the same pen, needle, and pliers, or sorry, pen, needle, and tweezers tool that I have on the other one. And then I have the T6 bit driver, which is awesome. I love to have that for adjusting. And then the long tool on this side is the scissors. So yeah, it's very similar. It's kind of like what everything on this is almost on this one side. But I like having the replaceable blade because I can use that to open boxes, which is nice. And I don't have to worry about, you know, messing up an actual blade. So the other side of this one is a little bit smaller. So I have the bit driver, which takes up 2 spots here. You'll see how thick that one is. But like I said, I love the bit driver, and it comes with all these replaceable bits. And then the long tool on this side is the longer sheep's foot blade, which I really like. It's very, you know, very nice, not super scary, intimidating to pull this out. But yeah, definitely gets the job done. And the tweezers themselves, I haven't used a whole lot, but they do feel very strong, and they do have wire cutters here similar to like my Leatherman Charge, and these do appear to be replaceable as well. So yeah, overall it's nice. It really is. It just, there's something about it. It's heavy, but it's got a rattle that makes it feel a little bit cheaper, even though it is fairly priced. It's just something a little bit different about it. So the pricing on these is basically the Roxon Flex. The original comes in at around $88, which I think is fair. You could get so much use out of this, and the implements themselves are very cost effective. They're like 10 or 15 bucks. So if you need to replace a blade or a scissors or the pen, it's like 10 bucks. So you buy the frame, I think you can buy the frame for right around $50. But if you have the tools, you know, that you want pre-installed, around 90 bucks, it's pretty fair. And it'll last you a long time. It is rugged. It just, like I said, there's some parts of it that don't feel as premium, but it'll still get the job done every time. And then the companion, which is my favorite, comes in around $55 with all the tools pre-installed. And that price feels great to me because this is like the coolest multi-tool I've ever seen. It's not that thick, and it has all the functionality and modularity you could ever want in a multi-tool. The only request I would have for Roxon is I'd like to be able to swap the scales for, I wish they made different color scales or different types of scales. You could get even more customization, but yeah, other than that, that is really my only thing. Everything about this is awesome. The pocket clip is super deep, so it fits really nice in your pockets. Also, you can just take it off if you don't want it there. So yeah, that is the Roxon Flex lineup. Like I said, this is a really, really cool design. I love the modularity because I feel like every multi-tool has 3 things on it that I'm never going to use, and there's no point in me having those and wasting the weight and the space that they take up. So this gives me the freedom to, if I want a box cutter and a comb, but I don't need a saw, I don't saw anything, then I don't need the saw. I can just put on the pen instead. And like I said, there's all types of different attachments that you can get. There's dozens more on their website. So yeah, that is my take on the Roxon Flex lineup. Overall, this is such a cool idea. I think this is kind of the future of multi-tools, and they make a great product. So go ahead and check them out. I'll put their link in the description below. Thank you guys for checking out the video. I'll see you on the next one.